You are sitting across the negotiating table from Jeff Bezos. You spent months building the perfect pitch, organizing market data, customer validation, and endorsements from people that everyone in the room respects. And yet somehow, the more evidence you stack, the less interested he seems to become. Most professionals believe consensus lowers risk. While that's true for some prospects, for the Jeff Bezos architecture, consensus destroys credibility. The moment your idea sounds safe, it stops sounding important. Here is the exact cognitive architecture of Jeff Bezos and the asymmetrical leverage required to bypass his filters. Most people subconsciously read Jeff Bezos' face and see the obvious signals: the forward chin projection, the raised head carriage, the dominant eye contact. They conclude, aggressive, kinetic, high-urgency operator. That read is the mask, not his actual foundation. The physical architecture tells a more complex story. From Bezos' pronounced upper cerebral zone and forehead, we see an indication that Bezos is likely to regularly employ abstract planning, long-range intellectual processing, and conceptual control rather than reactive execution. Bezos' lateral retraction is absolutely critical. The brain is running hot, but the social bandwidth is deliberately compressed. This is not shyness, but rather it is a defense architecture engineered to keep tribal pressure outside the processing core. The wide jaw signals territorial rigidity. The thin lips and wide mouth together produce a paradox: commanding presence combined with calculated withholding. He can fill a room and reveal almost nothing at the exact same time. Jeff Bezos could be classified as being systems control dominant. He does not run on urgency. He runs on timeline sovereignty, the ability to operate 3 to 5 years ahead of the present moment, while the rest of the tribe is fighting over this quarter. The public sees a high-energy disruptor akin to Elon Musk or Sam Altman, but Bezos' actual operating system is methodical, insulated, and aggressively protective of internal cognitive reserves. The behavioral data confirms and deepens this read. Jeff Bezos himself claims that he limits himself to 3 high-quality decisions per day, not because he lacks capacity, but because he understands that cognitive output is a finite resource and he treats it accordingly. He built his regret minimization framework not by polling his peers, but by projecting himself to age 80 and running an internal audit. Tribal consensus was never a variable in that equation. When Amazon's stock dropped from $113 to $6, he did not pivot, he did not panic. His internal metrics, the ones the tribe could not see, remained intact, so the external number was irrelevant. The morphology initially suggests a more reactive operator. The behavioral record points in the opposite direction. That contradiction is the clue, and when you understand that split, his behavior becomes completely predictable. Now here is where most communicators would detonate and crumble. Imagine you are pitching Bezos on a major infrastructure investment. You open with your industry adoption numbers. You cite the executives who have already committed. You emphasize how the market has validated your approach. You believe you are reducing his perceived risk. You are actually triggering his primary rejection filter. His entire operating identity was built on ignoring what the tribe endorsed, leaving a stable Wall Street career for an unproven digital market against all peer advice. He has said explicitly, if you are doing anything genuinely new, you must be willing to be misunderstood. The moment your pitch starts sounding like everyone agrees, it stops sounding like a vision. It starts sounding like a following. The second failure node is leading with granular logistics, the Q3 deliverables, the cost breakdown, the implementation timeline in weeks. This forces his processing engine into the immediate tactical present before the macro conceptual meaning has been established. You are speaking his second language before he has even decided whether to learn yours. The third major mistake is framing your proposal as flexible and adaptable. Saying you can pivot based on immediate needs sounds collaborative. To Jeff Bezos, flexibility signals a lack of conviction. It introduces unpredictable variables. It is the opposite of what earns his structural trust. If you are seeing stark similarities with this architecture in someone in your life, a superior, a client, a business partner, and you want a framework for reading the pattern before you walk into the room, you need to know that there are 4 foundational behavioral baselines. Every person under pressure defaults to one of them. We have built a free PDF brief, 4 archetypes, immediate delivery to your inbox. The link is in the description. Acquire the brief. It takes 30 seconds and it establishes the behavioral baseline for every high-stakes interaction you face today. Now for the asymmetric plays with a Jeff Bezos in your life. First, lead with the end game before you introduce a single data point. Open with the macro vision, the civilizational or systemic meaning of what you are building, not the features, not the financials. The answer to the question, what does this make possible in 5 years that is not possible today? People with this pattern often prioritize the conceptual anchor before it will engage with granular detail. Give him the overview first, and the details become load-bearing evidence instead of noise. Second, at the end of your pitch, remove the pressure entirely. Tell him you do not need an answer today. Tell him you want him to pressure test the framework against his own long-term models. This is not a weakness move. It is a precision alignment with his documented operating rhythm. He consistently applied internal processing delays before massive decisions. By granting him that space, you bypass the social defense mechanisms and signal that you are running on the same timeline he is. Third, frame your proposal as infrastructure, not as a product or a service. His most significant bets, AWS, Blue Origin, have one thing in common. He was building the foundational layer that would allow everything above it to operate. He is not looking for tools, he is looking for load-bearing architecture. The operator who positions themselves as a structural component of his future, rather than a vendor seeking budget, has already separated themselves from 90% of the room. Running the wrong playbook on this architecture does not produce neutral results. It produces active resistance, and you will not always know why. The Strata target dossier removes the variable entirely. You submit a target. We run a full morphological and behavioral extraction, cross-referenced against documented pressure responses. Within 48 hours, you receive a complete tactical dossier. It will include exact leverage points, what to say and what to avoid, where they are predictable and where they will fracture. It is available now at strataintel.io. The link is in the description. Submit your target today so you can stop guessing with outcomes that matter.